You must
The
remember
pressure in the game you get out with what you put into it. It's like a walk of life. If you're good enough, go out and get it, no more about it.
But not so much control in the centre of the field from Kilkenny as Richie Bennett sends it high and over the bar.
Your mother sends you down to the shop for a pound's worth of goods and she gives you 50 pence. You can't get the pound's worth of goods, can you?
Just about kept in. Oh, well done, Shawnee Buckley. To do that to Tomas O'Shea, he deserves to score from here. One of the highlights of the Sunday game.
Limerick went out there from the word go today. No more about it. They made all the running, that was it. Put the ball over the bar and the back of it and that's it. No ifs, no buts.
Is there much time left? We have a couple of injuries. Here comes Kieran Carey. Carey leading the charge of the right brigade. 45 metres out. He's a chance to score. He's put it hard. He's put it over.
There's no sympathy in this game for anybody.
Hello, and you're very welcome to Treaty Talk. Tom Clancy back in the driving seat this week. We're here for episode 343, and as ever, I'm joined by the Weekly Observer and Vale Star newspapers, Matt O'Callaghan. Matt, we've another frantic week of Gaelic games between all the club of stuff. We've Masters, we've ladies football back, we've Camogie, we've everything to have a look at. So it's August really is just non-stop.
it is non-stop, Tom, and actually in these couple of weeks we're actually peaking. It is when we're into the third round of the hurling, which means we'll be in the second half with 2 rounds of the football. We're into the second round of the ladies football, the second of 3 rounds this weekend, and then we'll have the Camogie next weekend. It's pretty hectic, but we wouldn't have it any other way, Tom, at this time of the year. It is really fantastic. It is so exciting. Tom, it's extraordinary. The logistics that go into it. I was only studying it earlier today. The list of adult fixtures that we have for Limerick games, including the Junior B competitions in the divisions for the next week, is just simply phenomenal, Tom. And that is not counting a long list of fixtures as well for Borden and Og. It's just simply incredible. It's a huge logistical job, just to imagine to organise pitches, organise referees, organise officials. It's massive. It's massive, Tom.
It sure is. And I suppose just before we get into the club football, and then we'll be looking at club hurling and indeed ladies football and Camogie as well, just to, I suppose, give a plug at the start of the podcast for once. Perhaps we normally kind of bring these in later in the show, but just to give a mention to our friends at Munster Wheelchair Hurling, best of luck extended once again to Kieran Bennett of Patrick Swell, Steve Casey of Bruff, Darren Deneen and Cormac Downey, both of St. Kieran's, Morris Noonan of Grannon Ballingarry, Gary O'Halloran of Ballybrown, and Ellie Sheehy, last but not least, of Newcastle West, who are part of the Munster panel heading up to University of Ulster Coleraine, which in County Derry at the weekend for the final round of the Interpros, and what has been so far a successful campaign for all concerned in the Munster panel. So hopefully a couple of more wins under their belt there. I think they face off against the other 3 provinces as they do every day. So hopefully they can continue their fine vein of form, and we'll have word hopefully of a bit of silverware coming back from Coleraine over the weekend. That's Saturday with an early enough start for the lads there. So best wishes extended there. Matt, we have an All-Ireland winner in our midst, a lady who was on this podcast I think maybe about 50 weeks ago, maybe slightly less, sometime last autumn. I think she was with us, Martina McMahon, what I believe is a 6th national title in the All-Ireland Senior Softball Singles last weekend. Are we surprised?
No, not in the least, Tom. First of all, heartiest congratulations to Martina. It's her 4th or 5th major win this year. The woman is simply phenomenal. It was the finals of the All-Ireland Senior Ladies Softball Singles. It was held in Abilara, County Longford. Obviously a very good facility up there from what I'm hearing. But no matter where it is, the venue doesn't seem to matter. When Martina McMahon is involved, there's only one result. And she beat Amy Brennan from Kilkenny, who played underage camogie with Kilkenny, by the way. She won 21-8, 21-11.
Comprehensive
And
enough by the sounds of it. So
from what I'm hearing and from what I'm reading, she dominated both sets from the start. And Amy Brennan came into it late in both sets, but 21-8, 21-11, Tom, is very, 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 very convincing. And I've been saying that about Martina McMahon is one of the finest athletes and one of the finest sports people that this county has ever produced.
Yeah,
I
and
I don't think.
I was going to say, I don't think if you look at the list of honours, and she probably can't even list them. There's so many. That's the thing, and it's non-stop. And even as she touched on last year, I think her spinal injury there a few years ago, that hasn't stopped it. It maybe deferred her greatness or her success, but it hasn't stopped it. She's come back and she's won again and again, nationally and internationally, and it's truly remarkable, isn't it?
Tom, she's come back stronger.
Yeah.
I knew she had been through the pain barrier when she was going through it, but I didn't fully realize the extent of it until she came in here with us in the podcast.
Yeah, and that was incredible. And I suppose anyone who didn't see or hear that podcast, have a look back through our archives there, and you'll catch a glimpse of it and listen to Martina. And it's, while it is, of its time, you get a sense of the injury that she suffered. I think was playing soccer a couple of years ago. Bad back injury, and what would have curtailed anyone's sports career didn't curtail her. She got the operation, got back training, got back in amongst it, and more than got back in amongst it, got back to the very top. And as I say, a 6th national title, it's truly remarkable and phenomenal.
The first time I came in contact, Tom, and I said this on the data, the first time I came in contact with Martina McMahon was as a member of one of the Limerick underage camogie teams. She's an outstanding camogie player. But she chose her path of going for handball with fantastic success. But Tom, the day we had her on, and when you asked me, was I surprised that she won a 6th title? Not in the least. Or what she wins, if she, it doesn't surprise me, because that day she oozed resilience and determination. The two best traits that you can get in an athlete.
Yeah. And ultimately dedication as well, Matt, to her craft as well.
Because, watch the pain barrier that Martina McMahon was through. And to get herself back to this level, Tom, is simply phenomenal.
Yeah.
And happiest congratulations to Martina. Martina, keep the run going.
That's it. We'll I'm sure we'll be mentioning her again in not too long with more titles on the horizon. Matt, Masters.
We won't be missing her until the next big competition comes up. We won't be mentioning her, and then we'll be profusely mentioning her. Tom.
Yeah, the Masters, Matt, are in action at the weekend coming. Challenge Cup semi-final for the footballers against Clare. It's listed for 2 p.m. in Raybogue this Saturday, so a big opportunity for the lads.
Big opportunity for the lads, Tom. It's all happening in Masters at the moment, in Limerick Masters. Both our hurlers and our footballers are still involved in the competition. We're coming up to almost the penultimate weekend of games. The footballers, as you rightly said, are through to the Challenge Cup, which is the equivalent to Tier 4. Now, as I explained, there are 23 teams in the Masters competition, and they're grouped. And at the end of the day, it is the top 4 play, second 4 play for the third 4 play for the plate. And we're in the 4th tier by virtue of winning the playoff with Wicklow. So it's a tier higher than what we won in 2023 when we won the Spirit Cup, which was Tier 5. So we're in Tier 4, which is a big step up for Limerick. And they're playing Clare now at Raybogue on Saturday at 2 p.m. Now, this is a rematch, Tom, of round 2. The sides met in round 2 in Kilmehel when Clare won by 1-9 to 9 points. So it would appear to me that there is very, very little between the sides, and Limerick have they have progressed considerably since, because certainly the gods weren't favouring Limerick. They had 6 games in the group, Tom. The first 3 were away from home, away to Kerry, Clare and Waterford. Now, they won in Waterford. Then they were supposed to have 2 games at home. They had one against Longford Leitrim, which they drew in St. John's Park and Hospital. And then, Tom, and this is something that annoys me a small bit. They were due to play Wicklow and Rebogue in round 5. And the Masters Association had a big day laid on, a big family day laid on to mark the occasion. And Wicklow gave a walkover. Now, the sanction for a walkover was the deduction of a point. To me, totally inadequate. But then the Limerick's final game was, it was a game with Mayo at a neutral venue, which they lost, which set up a playoff between Limerick and Wicklow with the winner going through to the Challenge Cup and the loser going through to the Spirit Cup. And as we all know, as we said last week, up popped Ronan McGee in the 5th minute of time added on at the end of the second period of extra time to score a goal, and Limerick win 114 to 16 points. Now, Tom, we have been on the receiving end of that kind of stuff, of smash and grab, often enough ourselves. So we'll be making no apologies to Wicklow or anybody, for it. But it left giving Limerick fierce confidence going into this game, because Clare were involved in a playoff as well, Tom, because they were involved in a playoff for the plate, which is the third tier.
So to go between 3 and 4,
and they shifted quite a heavy defeat to Galway. By about 10, 12 points. I think something like 314 to 11 points, 314 to 12 points. Don't stick me on it. But that's a ballpark of what it was. But I'd be pretty confident, Tom, that Limerick, are well placed. And I'd be very hopeful that Anthony McCarthy and his charges, they're well primed for this. They've put a lot of work into it. There was a few players that were absent, key players like Michal Reedy was absent against Wicklow. Ronan McGee is returning from injury. Dennis O'Connor is returning from injury, and players like that. And Anthony, I was speaking with him in the last week, he's happy to report, I think, a clean bill of health for once. And that will be all systems go, and it's on in Rebogue on Saturday. And I would appeal to people to turn out and support the lads, because they're doing wonderful work. Obviously they're just on an aside from that, Tom. They have a cycle coming up in the Treehouse in the Woodlands Hotel in Adair, 24-hour cycle for Milford Hospice. I'll speak more about it next week when it will be nearer to the time. Perfect. And there was a very, very nice ceremony, Tom, last Sunday evening in the Woodlands House, because there was the launch of the Michael Weeks Perpetual Cup. Now, Michael Weeks has been a long time dedicated official of Limerick GA, served as county PRO for quite a while, served on the South Board, served his native club, Ballybricken, served Bruff, was very, very well known for many years as being the first face you would meet when you'd arrive at a match in Bruff. Now, he was also very dedicated to the Masters, Tom, and he led Limerick to an All-Ireland Hurling Masters in 2002. And he subsequently was involved in the... prior to that, he was actually involved in the Munster Junior B competition, which was a forerunner to what's going on in Killeedy at the moment, which is very successful in Killeedy. But there was a cup launched, the Michael Weeks Perpetual Cup. There was representatives from the national body there, from the Limerick Masters Association, representatives of the 6 clubs, and of course his family. And it's going to be played for. It's tier 1 of the hurling, which is the top tier, which will Wexford and Tipperary will contest the top tier of the hurling next Saturday week, and we'll be talking about it more next week. But they will be contesting the Michael Weeks Perpetual Cup, which is a great honour to a great Limerick man.
Yeah, that's for sure. And yeah, I echo that about it being the first man you used to meet in Bruff. going in. Be always looking for the teams to call them out and whatever, all the rest of it for senior games or any game really for matter if team sheets available. So congratulations, I suppose, for all for bestowing such an honour on Mr. Weeks. Matt, I suppose we better move to club action because we've plenty to discuss in the next 30 odd minutes or so between hurling and football. I suppose we'll start with football and a review of the week that was. We'll start with Group 1 as well, Matt. Wins here for Monaleen, Adair, and a draw between Ula and Fada Cases. Starting, I suppose, as the chronological order in this group, Monaleen, 6-point winners over Na Piarsaigh, 2 wins for 2 for Monaleen, and obviously their cross-city rivals, Na Piarsaigh, slow out of the traps again this year, 0 for 2. So I suppose Monaleen certainly moving in a different trajectory compared to 12 months ago.
Oh, absolutely. But I got a sense of that now. I didn't see that game, but I got a sense of it, Tom, in the first round against Rathkeale, that they are on a different trajectory this year. And, the message that was coming across to me loud and clear, the flirtation or the dalliance with relegation last year, no thank you for this year. And, they're off to a perfect start. They have 4 points. Monaleen now are certainly looking upwards. And I expected that they would beat Na Piarsaigh. Now, I think the victory may have been a little bit more comfortable, Tom, than 6 points would suggest, because I think Na Piarsaigh got a couple of late goals which coloured it a little bit better. But you write off Na Piarsaigh at your peril. Like, they had lost 2 games last year. They had got a desperate hammering in the first round from Mungret. They lost to Ballylanders in the second round last year. Tom, they picked up 5 points out of the remaining 6.
Yeah, got snuck into third place, didn't they? Yeah.
Yes. The question is, can they do it again? And that's for another day. But But as for Monaleen, I fancied Monaleen the first day I saw him against Rathkeale. I fancied them that they will be one of the ones that will come out of the group. And
they're probably a win away, basically.
They are a win away there, and we'll see where it will take them then. But Monaleen this year will be pushover for no one, Tom.
Yeah, and then on Friday evening, Adair, the reigning champions, led at 1 point at half time and led by 2 at full time. So winning both halves narrowly was enough to win the West Derby with Rathkeale, 2 wins for 2, and a bit like Na Piarsaigh, Rathkeale yet to get off the mark. So the champions probably not at their fluid best, but pushed all the way by Rathkeale, who are probably start finding their feet a little bit at the grade.
Yeah, Rathkeale are finding their feet, and they've been dogged by injury, Tom. Paul White had to leave the action there now after 17 minutes, and he'd be a very key player for them. And they've had injury problems and people not available in the first round. And but we have to say this, Tom, that the bottom 2 teams in the group are going to be embroiled in relegation this year. So there's going to be
relegation semi-finals, in the
semi-finals,
in the top 3 football grades,
There's going to be a huge game down the road between Na Piarsaigh and Rathkeale. Both of them have lost 2 matches at this stage, so that's going to be a very, very, very interesting game. But look, Tom, it was a recovery. I thought, if I'm honest, I thought Rathkeale were poor the first day after, starting brightly enough, but they, more or less as the game went on, Monaleen dictated the terms of engagement and incrementally built a lead and were comfortable winners in the finish. And quite honestly, if I'm brutally honest, I didn't expect that the turnaround which they brought about last weekend would happen. But fair play to them, because I thought last year as intermediate champions that they were good intermediate champions, Tom. They were a good side, and they have a couple of fine players. When you think of Paul White, when you think of Barry Coleman, when you think of Andrew White, Andrew Mead, Tommy Delan. If I don't mention him, he'll But seriously, I think Rathkeale will be okay, Tom.
Well, it's something to build on for round 3.
For Rathkeale, they will be satisfied to consolidate.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
And
the
hopefully
knockouts, a bit like Napiershig at this moment. The knockouts looks like a bit of a stretch, but I suppose it's just about making sure that you can get to fifth. Well, maybe not even fifth, fourth, or better.
It's doable, though, Tom. It's still doable.
Yeah, it
As
is. It is. It's
Napiershig
just
proved last year, it's doable.
yeah, but I suppose it is a little bit out. It looks a little bit out of their reach maybe at the moment. If I can flip to the other game in this group, we were both at this one. Side by side, Ula 2-10, Father Casey's 1-13 in Kilmallock on Saturday evening. Who will be the happier team here now with the draw, Matt? It's a difficult one because both teams will feel they should have won it. Both teams feel that they could have won it, but a point is probably it's a difficult one to see how it lies for them, you know.
Yeah, I was reflecting on that, Tom, on the way home from the game, and I was reflecting on it since, and I think that Father Casey's will be the happier.
Right.
Because let's face it, they were staring defeat for long periods. You know,
well, did a huge start, Matt. When they 5 or 6 points up, and
they were 5 points up.
Ula couldn't get out of their half nearly, you know.
No, but Ula had changed that around by half time, and in the second half, Ula seemed to have the capacity to keep their noses in front. And of course, Josh Ryan, like his. You know, he's a big man, but by God, he's a big player. You know, 1-6 was it, Tom? To go to 1-7, go with 1-7 in the first round. So Golden Boot, Josh is on the way again, is on the march again. But look, he's a huge influence, Tom, on the team, and so much revolves around him. And like the fact that he creates so much space for others by virtue of the fact that he's so tightly watched. But overall, Tom, it was a very good game of football, I thought. I enjoyed, I have to say, I enjoyed every second of it. Now, we could know from the body language afterwards, Tom, to answer your initial question. Kim Downey was the unhappier of the two managers, I would say, because I think he genuinely thought that his side had done enough to win it.
Yeah.
And there's a certain element of truth in that. You know,
but I think also as well that a win there, he probably knew what a win there over last year's beaten finalists Father Casey's would have done. It would have really put Ula in a strong position, and it would have really put Father Casey's in a bit of peril even after 2 rounds, you know. So the draw just keeps it that bit tighter, and I think that's probably what he was looking at, you know. But just to touch on the game as well, like Mikey O'Brien, I thought was sharp. He took it. He got a point off a Josh Ryan free where the ball hit the post. He was quick to react, you know, clipped it over. He got the goal, didn't he, just before half time?
He did.
And you know, they looked decent overall. They probably struggled on their kick out at times, and maybe that's where Father Casey's kind of got the little platform late on to win a lot of frees. That was the thing that would let Ula down. They gave away too many frees late on, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And what I would say about Ula, Tom, just to sum up Ula, they bear little resemblance to the Ula of last year.
Oh yeah, Paul's part. That's probably why I fancied them to get a result, as you might have seen in our predictions last week. And I'd seen enough of them against the Piercing first day out to say they're capable of taking the scalp of Father Casey's. Now a smidgen short, but they certainly look like they'd be a match for plenty of the teams in this championship.
Absolutely. You know, I would be fancying Ula at this point to get through to the knockout stages and see where that takes them. But it will be demonstrable progress on their part. And I thought that first, the first day against Napiershig, I thought they were good. And, you know, allowing for Napiershig not being up to it on the day, but Ula being good, to me, was reaffirmed in Kilmallock last Saturday night. I thought, I thought they drove on. I thought they were even better, even though they only drew. But we didn't mention Jack Downey at all, like who's been having a good season, a very dangerous forward.
Huge 2-pointer, yeah.
That huge 2-pointer before halftime. It was the score of the match, really. You know, but there were 2 penalties in it, and 2 legitimate penalties. No question about it. John O'Halloran didn't have any doubt about it, and both superbly converted.
Yeah,
you know, which but no, as I said, the only resemblance to Ula of last year is the red and white.
Yeah.
There's a stretch beyond that.
We'll move to Group 2 now in a sec, but I suppose Monleen, I think, are playing Father Casey's in the next round. So, given the form lines here, Father Casey's will have to probably up it a notch or two if they're, want to get a win in round 3, because the form line isn't hectic, shall we say, in the opening 2 rounds. Now they've faced 2 very good teams, mind, but they probably didn't show enough the other night to say that they're at the same level that they were at 12 months ago, really, when they looked a lot more cohesive. Maybe they just haven't hit that high note just yet.
No, and Monleen, now I understand that Darren Murray picked up an injury in the win over the Piercing.
Yeah.
Now, he to me is very, very, very central to this Monleen resurgence. He's their captain, he's their free taker, and he's excellent on both. So wish Darren the very best of luck, because we want all our good players playing in the championship, and he's a very, very central player to Monleen, Tom.
Yeah, that's for sure. So this group sees Monleen on top, Adair in second, both 2 wins from 2. Beneath them, Ula on 3 points, Father Casey's on a point, and scrapping it out at the bottom at the moment is Raquel and the Piercing. Group 2, Matt, we were both in the Bog Garden Friday evening. Very much a one-sided game. Newcastle West 4-8, Kildiamond Palace 4 points. That tells a bit of a story. Newcastle West did not reach the level they needed to reach. They simply didn't have to. A hat trick for Ian Corbett, and plenty of slagging afterwards that Billy Lee didn't select him as the Stream Sport.ie man of the match. So, and not too often a fellow will get a hat trick and not get the man of the match gong,
Yeah, but Mike McMahon got 2 in the hurling the previous week, and he was outdone this week by Ian Corbett in the football.
Yeah.
But look, it was just a fantastic performance by Newcastle West, and it isn't who was playing for Newcastle West at all. It was who wasn't playing. You had no Mick Keefe starting. You had no Rudon O'Connor. You had no Emmett Richter. You had no Darren Doherty. You had no Brian Nix. 5 frontline players now. I know Darren Doherty, Mick Keefe, and
Rudon
O'Connor came on during the second half. Look, I find it very hard when I look down in the corner for Newcastle West, and when we were both talking to him afterwards, he couldn't remember when he missed the match last. Mick O'Keefe, he has been always right cornerback for Newcastle West, and but he's back in business now again anyway. So but Newcastle West sent out a message, Tom. I think I think they're going to get that championship. They're going to get that title back. Like in Corbett, Tom. Jesus,
the first 2 goals, first 2 goals raiding through. We've seen it time and again, and he absolutely buried them.
What can you say about his overall play, Tom? He's just so central to everything, isn't he?
Yeah, just the only thing though with Newcastle West, like as I said, they didn't overexert themselves. I mean, they only scored 1-4 in the second half.
That's all. No, they did what they had to do. I've been saying this all the time, Tom.
Oh yeah, we've said it. I know we've said it to each other here in this forum. That's like
I don't know how many times we've said about Newcastle West.
They never overexert themselves in the group. Yeah,
they'll just do what they have to do to win the game in a lot of cases.
Yeah, but I don't think they were too happy though, kicking 14 or 15 wides, whatever it was. They had an awful lot of missed chances.
I see huge potential for Newcastle West this year. Just imagine putting him at Richter in back. Just imagine Brian Nix, and the 3 that we mentioned. Like Liam Ferris is going to have, Liam Weir. The manager is going to have. He's going to have a selection headache, but there's one that he will like. I'm sure.
Yeah, Kildiamond Palace Genry, you'd have to be worried with the manner of the performance. A very, very young team overall. I think Carl Downs is the second oldest starter. He's 24, and then you've Peter Nash 33. The rest of them are fledglings. You could nearly say, a lot of them anyway at this grade. And when you're missing the likes of Tony McCarthy, you're going to be up against a team like Newcastle.
Yeah, and missing Kyle Hayes with the performance that he put on the first night.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
because the first night against Ballylanders, Kyle Hayes, in my opinion, was one of the central figures. He played an excellent game. So, he was a huge loss as well. But Tony McCarthy, of course, and Tony is such a loss both to the football and the hurlers. Is something we must remember. Like,
There was a bit of slagging that he got injured playing hurling, that taking a shot actually against Drummond at Lackett. That's how he got hurt. So he won't be taking any more shots in hurling, I think, is the message that's gone out. But
he
look,
took shots very successfully in Croke Park, as I told him the other day.
Yeah. They're 1 win from 2. Declan Nash probably won't be too upset by losing to Newcastle West. I don't think they've beaten them since they came up to senior. So their season, it's not season defining. They still have like St. Kieran's, they still have Mungret, they still have Galtee Gales to come, you know.
Yeah, and in Peter Nash, they have a potential match winner. Like, you know, it was like trying to stop the Ocean like the other night, but oh by God, didn't he battle?
Yeah, he did. Skipping along in this group, so Matt, St. Kieran's had not 1 but 2 wins since we last spoke on this
They
podcast.
had Tom, and Galtee Gales played Mungret.
Yes. So Galtee Gales fell to St. Kieran's the first time, and then St. Kieran's, they were out to take down the South Limerick men, were they? So they took down Ballylanders then in round 2. So 2 quick with fire wins, and like a bit like last year, their championship up and running quite well for St. Kieran's.
Absolutely. And Seamus O'Donnell was saying to us, you know, after the first game, like that they won the first 2 last year, which they did, and I saw them winning both of them. That you know, they were hoping to do much better this year, but I think they're better equipped this year. And I said to John Hayes after the Galtee Gales game, what had he got against South Limerick teams? But by God, he really put Ballylanders to the sword altogether. So, Dara Tracy is absolutely fantastic at midfield for him. And Liam Kennedy was hugely impressed with Liam Kennedy against Galtee Gales. He got 2 goals. And John Hayes, of course, is John Hayes. You know, absolutely.
Yeah. What did he get? Did he get 12 points or something like that?
He got 12 points, but he you know, tisn't what he scores at all, Tom. He's just impact and influence in the game. Like his distribution and his leadership out in the field is just simply phenomenal. He's like, I'm not surprised, Tom, that, you know, when you look at it this way, that Limerick won the Tarleton Cup final when John Hayes can make the first 15.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't even making the panel last year. I think he might have been injured, but
he was. He's had a lot of injury, and he got injured. He got injured in 2023 with about 3 minutes to go against Ula in the first round. And it more or less ended his season. And he got injured again last year after the second round, but thankfully he has a clean bill of health now. And as I say, at all stages, no matter who they play for, I don't want to see players getting injured. And no matter who they play for, I want to see our best players playing out in our county championships.
Yeah, that's for sure. That means St. Kieran's, thanks to those wins, sitting nicely on 4 points alongside Newcastle West. Mungret St. Paul's bounced back from that agonising defeat to Newcastle West the first day out. Tight enough victory, but I think they led for the majority of this game against Galtee Gales, 18 points to 2-9, and Mungret up and running in their bid to, I suppose, reach the knockouts again for this season.
Yeah, the Gales were without Sean Clancy, who was a big loss to him. He's got an injury. I was talking to some of the Gales today, actually, earlier on today. But Sean Casey got 2 goals and a point. He's now on 3 goals and 1 point for the competition after 2 rounds, which is okay for a corner forward.
It is, yeah. But Mungret get the points.
Mungret get the points, but like the Gales last year won the first 3. This year they've lost the first 2.
So they need to flip it, yeah.
And there'll be a very, very interesting game in the next round. The Gales play Ballylanders.
All ticket affair, I suppose.
It will be all ticket, and the bragging rights and what have you. It will be. I don't know what will be, Tom.
Right. Well, you seem to be ignoring Mungret here. They're after winning 5 of their 6 group games since they've come up. So fair play to them anyway.
Forgive me, Mungret St. Paul's. No, forgive me, Mungret St. Paul's. Yeah. They've been excellent. Like they've only suffered 1 defeat in 7, Tom.
In the
and that
group,
was by a single point.
Yeah,
to Newcastle West.
Sure. No, and so they're up and running for the year. Yeah.
This year, Tom, there's no shame in losing to Newcastle West by a point.
Yeah, that's for sure. Just to move on, so to down the grades, just to mention, I think Skeeton Ballysteen Kilcornan in the intermediate grade had a huge comeback victory over Clahan. Clahan, I think, thought this game won. So Skeeton Ballysteen Kilcornan with making a 2-from-2. St. Pat's up and running against Lynn. And Kappa, probably the surprise victory maybe across the grades over Drumbrod for 2-11 to 1-8 last Thursday. So an impressive.
Now, from Bradford, Tom, were without Killian Fahey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Was
We know the
you mentioned
huge
last week.
influence that Killian is on the Drum Bradford team.
Mm,
But having said that, Kappa had a very good win over Clahan in the first round.
They did, yeah. No, they've taken the two big guns almost already. So they're probably 2 more wins away from a semi-final. You would think maybe win the next day in the quarter, win the next 2 rounds are in the semi. So that's pretty good going for it. I suppose a team that has a lot of players playing both codes as well. So they'll be more than happy with that.
Yeah, there's a huge crossover with.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be much panic in Drum anyway. They won the first day comprehensively against Lynn, and chance for them to bounce back as well. Like so, in Group 2, then comfortable victories for St. Senans and Galbally over Newcastle West second team, and Crocora and Palace Green drew with Earl Griffin. So I think St. Senans and Galbally, I think they put up huge scores here. They'll be happy enough to make it to pick up another win, and Palace Green maybe a bit of a surprise packet, a win and a draw to date.
Yeah, well, one of our guests later, we might ask him that question.
Yeah, we might. Right, we'll see. We'll see how that one fares out. Just to mention then as well, we'll be moving to ladies football momentarily. Premier Junior Group 1, Father Casey's edged by Mona Gay by a single point. Mount Collins much too strong for Mungret St. Paul's, and Atay East beyond Ballybrown. And in Group 2, Croom, Ballingarry and Fina got victories over Ahan, Castleman and Kilteely. And I know the clock is a little bit against us this evening, but we will keep an eye on Junior A, Junior B and the Junior C grades. I know Patrick Swella got a second win with Mr. Carey at fullback, a good friend of ours. So great to see
that.
Did
I hear Ballybrown there in passing, did I?
They did. They were beaten well by Atay. Yeah, you did. So let there be no panic. Knockany were beaten as well, Matt. We were 1 from 2, but we're still in the fight, as they say in the Junior B.
In the mix, they call it.
In the mix, yeah. Matt, ladies football round 2 is throwing in this weekend. So
it is throwing in this weekend. As I said in previous weeks, Tom, there's nobody out after the group stage. You play your 3 games, and it's basically a seeding process. Now, with some very, very interesting games, like if you were looking for a baptism of fire, certainly Mungret St. Paul's have got it, because their first round game, they were at home to the champions, St. Elby's, which they lost by 14 points to 7. And if that wasn't bad enough, in round 2, they travelled to face the newly crowned league champions, Monaghay. These games are on Sunday at 7:00. So that's going to be a stiff test as well. And also in that group, you have Elby's are at home to Fiona Castleman. And Fiona Castleman lost in the first round to Monaghay. So, you could see Elby's and possibly Monaghay coming out victorious there. And should that happen, Tom, you would see that it'll all go down for the top spot to the third round when they'll meet, and I think it's on in Monaghay. So that won't be one for the faint-hearted. But top place in the group will be very, very important, because they will be playing 4th in Group 2.
That's true. Yeah, it is a seeding process, but you do want a good seed, don't you? And would you have home advantage if you're in the top 2? Is that correct?
You would have home advantage. Yeah, I understand that the top 2 teams in each group have home advantage.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense. There has to be some incentive, I suppose, to be winning these games. So that's the ladies football this weekend. I know that obviously the other grades are underway as well. But
the other group, Tom.
The other group, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, the other group is delicately poised for the simple reason that you have a meeting of first round winners and first round losers. The first round winners are Drum Bradford, who host Old Mill. That should be a very, very interesting game, because Old Mill beat Ballylanders, who were beaten in in the county final last year, and Ballylanders had beaten Old Mill in the county semi-final last year. So they're going to Drum. Drum have won the Senior B for the last couple of years. So that's going to be a tough one now. A lot could hinge here on whether Iris Kennelly will be back from her travels or not. If she's back, it'll be a major,
huge player for Old Mill.
huge boost to Old Mill. And then we have the 2 first-round losers who will want to exercise the ghosts of the first round, Ballylanders and Ula. Ballylanders lost to Old Mill, as I said, and Ula lost to Drum Broadford. So that game is on in Ballylanders at 7 o'clock. So it gives one of them a chance, to get a win and possibly get off the bottom of the table.
Okay, yeah, let's see how they fare out. But as we know, it's not do or die just yet for these sides, but it would be important to for them to get a victory or two in the group stage to build that confidence. Matt, will we move to hurling? I think it's time.
Yes, Tom, we will.
Okay.
I know we have the constraints of time against us this week.
That's for sure. But let's take a look at something we had in the earlier rounds, and we'll be chatting about all the senior hurling games shortly.
Yeah, it's trying to figure out who's playing where. I just don't appear, in fairness, of playing with maybe 7 backs. It's not a sweeper system, it's kind of zonal. We don't know who's popping in there. They're closing the space.
Breaks down. There's a chance here. Yeah, breaks through on goal. Keith Dempsey. Dempsey looks for it, back of the net.
Now, so that's a sample of what we've seen so far. That was round 1. That was in the Piercing and Doon in a repeat of last year's final. And just to bring you up to speed, folks, there's 4 games being streamed this weekend by streamsport.ie. That is namely Doon versus Kilmallock on Thursday evening. Friday evening would see Mungret St. Paul's meeting against Monaleen. A big one on Saturday for people of one parish. That's Ballybrown versus Patrickswell. And then on Sunday, na Piercing and Ahan in an important game in Group 1. So there's a week... season pass, weekend pass, and match passes options available for those. Just keep an eye on our socials there for those. So great opportunity. 4 games in 4 days, Matt, streamed. We also have obviously
Tom,
2 games.
I have to say it at the risk of being repetitive.
I'd say you are being repetitive now. Go for it.
No, I'll take the risk, Tom, because when I'm saying something that's factual, Tom, I have no problem in hammering it home, and that's I'm on again about the quality of the streaming. It's absolutely first class.
Right. Well,
absolutely first class, and I would recommend anybody. It's extremely good value, Tom. It's extremely good value that you can sit down in your own home and see these games. And there's a very reasonable, it's reasonably priced as well. So, and anybody that I meet that is using the streaming service, they're so happy with it, Tom. It's absolutely first class, and the little interaction with people before the game and all that sort of thing. It's a fantastic presentation.
Yeah, well, thanks for those comments from you, Matt. Let's get to the game. And of course,
Tom, with great commentators.
Oh, well, there we go. I was waiting for that. Yeah, I'll send you the few bob.
You were angling for that. No, seriously, the commentary and the punditry is very good in it.
Yeah, well, trying to make it bigger and better the whole time, as I say. So looking at those games, Matt, first of all, and I haven't forgotten our other 2 senior games, but those games starting on tomorrow, Doon and Kilmallock, that's always a great game between those 2 sides. Knocklang, a unique enough venue as well for a senior game between those sides. So I'd be expecting a big crowd at this one, and I suppose both teams on 3 points probably know that a win here is going to put them a long way to being in the knockouts of this competition.
I don't think it's going to put them a long way. It's going to put them there, I think.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah.
Yeah, because at 5 points, I don't think you can miss out with 4 going through or the 6.
No, that's true. Yeah, given the way the draws have changed.
Yeah, it's going to put them there. Look, they met in the first round in the Gaelic grounds last year, and there was a point in it. And it's games between Doon and Kilmallock, they've just been fantastic. And it's one of those ones, Tom, even though they're from 2 different divisions and they're from 2 different parts of the county and they're miles apart, but there's a decent level of rivalry between them. And that has been something that has been built up by great contests over the years. And mind you, it is pretty even between them. I think this is going to be a very, very tight game, Tom. But what I saw from Doon in the game against Patrickswell, they certainly have grown in confidence from last year. They're better than last year, but they're still not at their best. I
Yeah,
think
that's the
there's
thing.
another
Yeah.
there is another notch in them, and now Kilmallock, in fairness, you'd have to say they haven't rooted up any trees this year. Being
But
honest
the
about
funny
it.
thing is, they won the league, and now they're on 3 points from 4, the same as Doon. So
Yeah, but they'll take that, and they will
yeah,
be happy with that. And Kilmallock, of all clubs over the years, I've seen it as the competition progresses, they get better and they get better and they get better, and they see being involved in the concluding stages as a right, which is something like that they see about carrying the Sam Maguire Cup. They see them being contenders for the Daily Cup as being a right. Now they beat they just got the job done against Patrickswell, and I suppose you'd have to say to a certain degree they were lucky to come out of the game with a draw.
yeah, they never led in that game. Yeah, so to get
No.
a draw at the end, you'd be happy enough when you're
Yeah.
kind of chasing it the whole way.
So, like the form guide here suggests Doon all the way, but
Does.
there's going to be a different dynamic in it. I think Doon will win it, Tom, but narrowly.
Yeah. I think we'll have our predictions on our social media there later this evening or maybe tomorrow. But I think the three of us in agreement with Doon. But that's probably expecting Doon to find another gear, and maybe if they don't improve, maybe Kilmallock might find those levels of improvement, and maybe
Graham Mulcahy's likely to be back to start, which would be a big boost for Kilmallock. We saw the impact he made when he came on against the Han. If you have a player coming on with 5 All-Irelands and 7 Munster medals, like that's a fair bit of experience, and like Mull has never left Kilmallock down, and he's going to be a big boost to him. Let's face it, but Kilmallock will have to come up a notch if they expect to beat Doon, I think.
Yeah, we'll stay going on this group, Matt. Saturday, Ballybrown versus Patrickswell in McNeville Park, 6:30 p.m. throw-in for this. Again, that is available to stream. Huge game. These sides last met in a quarter-final 2 years ago. Patrickswell eventually pulled away. The form guide, though, here is Patrickswell have 0-2, and Ballybrown started with a good win, but then didn't really back it up against the Piercing. So it's a difficult one, I think. I think a lot of people are writing Patrickswell off, and they may do so at their peril.
They may do so at their peril, but this is an opportunity for Ballybrown to end. Is it 35 years of hurt, Tom?
At 34, yeah.
34.
Yeah, they beat Patrickswell in 91 last time in the county championship. They did that, and it was actually the last time that they went on to win the county title as well. So they've seen a hell of a lot of blue and gold or blue and yellow in between, celebrating various different successes. So
the form of Patrickswell would suggest that they're really up against it. The form that we have seen against Doon. Are there doubts surrounding Aaron Gallan? He has a hand injury, which would be a huge loss.
Yeah, I think everyone in the county knows at this stage he got some sort of surgery on his hand, not too long after the Doon game. So, look, we'll see, but I'd say it's very unlikely that he will line up, for this weekend anyway. But aside from that, I think Patrickswell have to get more out of their whole panel. Really, I don't think there's any player that would be thrilled with their performance to date.
No, you're absolutely right, Tom. As a squad, they are below par. As a squad and individually, they are below par, and they'll really have to drive on if they're to beat Ballybrown. Somehow, I fancy Ballybrown. I think Ballybrown are going to share this one. I think you think the same yourself. We're of like mind, but
well, I do. I couldn't go against them, could I?
Come from Ballybrown. I can look at it in the cold light of day. You can't. Yeah. I'm looking at it with my head. You're looking at it with your heart. So, I'm going for Ballybrown. I think they really never came out of the traps against the Piercing Town.
Yeah. Look, I think the form of Aidan O'Connor has to be encouraging for him. He's the captain. He's the leader. He's he's their go-to man. And if he can bring a few more along with him, and they can get a little bit more out of lads who did well against the Hand the first day, I think
we're talking about the like of Barry Adams and Brian Griffin. If they can get more out of those up front, I think it may be Ballybrown's day. I'm fancying him to win it narrowly.
Yeah. Should be a huge occasion on Saturday evening. I think these
Now,
games all.
if Ballybrown were to win, it puts Patrick Swell in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, well, it could in effect nearly put them out, depending on what way the other
Because
results go.
they still have to face the Piersig.
Yeah, but it could put them more or less out of the championship if other results don't go their way over the weekend. That's the way I look at it.
Yes.
Because for them to they'll have to get to 4 points, and even Ballybrown will already be on 4 points in that scenario. But look, that's
just
probably
the head-to-head if it came to it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the conversation. So for later on Saturday evening, if indeed the white and green can prevail. Final game in this group, Matt, and I'm conscious now we've a couple of guests to come as well this evening. Final game in this group is Sunday, Na Piarsaigh versus the Han in Clahan, I should say. Na Piarsaigh on 3 points, a Han on a point. Big game for a Han because the draw against Kilmallock will probably count for very little if they can't at least match it here and get another couple of a point or two on the board here.
Yeah, I think a Han will be very, very competitive in this game. They were hit by a tsunami from Ballybrown in the first round. And but there's fierce credit due to Han for the manner in which they regrouped so quickly and really, really put it up to Kilmallock. And as we've already said, we're unlucky not to come out of it with a win. I think this is going to be quite close, and I think Na Piarsaigh will shade it. I think Na Piarsaigh always like to get the business of qualifying done as early as possible, and
their squad should be getting stronger as well as it goes on, because I'd say Jerome Boylan isn't a million miles away from being fit. Mike Casey, I think, is back in amongst it as well now, and Peter Casey
and Conor Boylan.
Another couple of weeks will probably do them no harm as well, So I fancy the Piarsaigh in this one. Yeah, okay. That's the 3 games in Group 1. As we know, as I said already, they're being streamed. Also, then to mention, in Group 2, we'll start with the streamed game. That's Unleen versus Mungret St. Paul's. Familiar foes, I'm sure, across the city. Red and white versus red and white. It'll be into who'll win the toss to change or whatever. This one in Clahan on Friday evening. We know all about Unleen, Matt. 2 wins from 2 going very well. If you're Mungret St. Paul's, 2 draws from 2, not out of the reckoning by any means, but probably need a win here now to give their chances of knockout hurling a shot in the arm.
They actually need a win here, Tom, because were they to lose to Monaleen, I think they can write off this year nearly. They'll find it difficult. Well, there has been so many draws now. There have been a couple of draws in this group already.
Five draws overall, and 3 in this group. So
so that's good. It'll mean that a lower points threshold will be necessary to get into the top 2. But were Monaleen to win, which I think they will just about do, they'll win by a couple of points, I believe. They'll be unstoppable, I think, Tom. They'll be just 1 win away from Division 1, from Group 1.
Yeah, 6 points would put them in a very, very healthy position heading into
very healthy position. So
rounds,
there's huge pressure on Monaleen from their own, on Mungret St. Paul's from their own point of view to get the win. But there's also huge pressure on Mungret St. Paul's for the sake of the group. To because
in terms of the promotion part of it,
yes. Because if Monaleen get a 3rd win, which I think they will, I think you can say goodbye to the promotion spot. The others can say goodbye to it.
Yeah, they'll be finishing off with the games against Newcastle West and Kildare Pallaskenry, so they'll be well placed.
No, they won't slip up. And I don't think they'll slip up against Mungret.
It's a very, very intriguing game. I know John Keogh is on commentary for that one on Friday evening with, I believe, James Ryan. The other 2 games in this group, Matt, just to mention them as well, Adair versus Kildare Pallaskenry, bit of a derby match as well. They're obviously bounding each other. This is in Sean Finn Park in Rathkeale. Kildare Pallaskenry might as well take up residence there now. Their 3rd week in a row there, I think, on a Friday evening as well. So between the 2 codes, big game again for both teams. Kildare, what have they? A win and a draw, isn't it? And Adair have a draw. Am I right? Am I going wrong?
Yeah, but it comes down here again to Kildare Pallaskenry without 2 huge players, Kyle Hayes and Tony McCarthy.
Yeah.
Big, I don't know what the status of the walking wounded in Adair is, but I know that Mike Keane picked up an injury in the first round, which ruled him out in the second round. Woody Griffin and Wayne Mack picked up injuries in the second round with Mungret St. Paul's. They were of a hamstring nature. I'm not so sure if it will rule them out or not, but they would be important players for Mark Foley and his management team. But I have a fancy that I saw a couple of great performances by Adair, and we mentioned it last week, by Patrick Carney and Darren Leeson. I was hugely impressed by him in the Adair colours. But I think that I'd be fancying Adair to just get over the line in that one and kickstart. They have a bit of ground to make up, Tom. They have 3 points lost out of 4.
Yeah, they do. No, I think the winner here might be thinking about quarterfinals. I think the loser will probably be, well, I know Kildare Palace-Kenry will still on 3 points, but I think a winner, whoever wins this one, will be well placed to kind of go on a small run to try and reach that knockout spot.
That's provided Newcastle West don't. If Newcastle West beat Drummond at Lacca, they'll go above them. In that type of situation, in those circumstances.
Yeah, very true. The draws are really messing with my head on this one anyway. Drummond at Lacca versus Newcastle West, 3 p.m. in Croke this Saturday. Drummond at Lacca yet to get off the mark. The only team of the themselves and Patrick's well, but the only team in this group yet to pick up a point. Newcastle West with 2 draws from 2. Could have been so different. Could have been 2 defeats from 2. Probably could have been 2 wins from 2. That's the nature when you draw games,
I could actually, certainly against Kildare Palace-Kenry, 2 goals down when they introduced the big man, and he comes on and he gets 2 goals and a point, and in the end they were unlucky not to win the game. They fall 10 points behind at one stage in the first half against Mungret St. Paul's, come back in the second half. Mungret St. Paul's relying on a late free from Mark O'Brien to get a draw. So if you look at it from that point of view, Newcastle West could very, very easily be on 4 points. But you have to ask the question, why are they letting themselves get into the position that they're getting into, that they're falling behind?
Yeah, that's true. They're slower, the chaps. Look, maybe they've worked on a couple of things in the meantime, but I think overall they'll be happy to have 2 points from the first 2 games, and not been beaten yet as well. But that's the game on Saturday in this group. We know an awful lot more about who's in the shake-up for knockout hurling by the end of play on Sunday, by the time the Pierce Kinahan line out. Matt, just to mention, I know our guest is waiting in the wings, just to mention the Lions of Limerick Premier Intermediate campaign. Croke Kilfinney versus Ballingarry, that's on Thursday evening. Bruff and Glenroe is on Friday evening. So Liberties and Effin also on Friday, and Blackrock and the Bouncers, Garryspillane, is on Saturday evening. Garryspillane 3 from 3, the only team with a perfect record in this. And Glenroe, I suppose, unfortunately, not to remind you, but bringing up the rear with 1 point from their 2 games. So I suppose Garryspillane will know another win here is going to be very, very promising in terms of semi-final berth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's looking bleak for Glenroe now, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, will we bring in our guest, Matt? I think we will. Yeah. Yeah, I think he's hiding out in a van there somewhere. But anyway, indeed, we're joined now by Colin Ryan after a few technical glitches there in the background. Colin, how's the form?
How's Tom? How's Matt? How are things?
Good, Colin. How are you? Congratulations since we saw you last, since I met you last.
Yeah. Thanks, Bill. Yeah, good win. Yeah. Last time we saw you, I was in Kilmallock. Was it?
It was yourself and Fionn.
That's right.
You were after winning Munster and you beelined it over to Kilmallock.
That's right. Yeah. Palace were playing the Junior B County final. Yeah.
That's right. That's the last time we spoke. Yeah.
If anyone listening or watching isn't sure what in God's name we're talking about, it's obviously the Puck Fada that you won. Is it nearly 2 weeks ago now, or could even be a little bit longer? Colin. So up the Cooley Mountains, no problem to it all. Wind and sun, and I don't know, is there any rain when you were there? But you got over the line. I'll just bring up this image here for viewers as well. I'm sure I'm sure it's somewhere on the mantelpiece, or will be in time. Yourself and I think you mentioned him there, Fionn, isn't it? Right. I'm sure a very special photo for you after a great success like that.
Yeah, very special. I suppose we were up there last year, and he was only small. Well, he still is small, but he wasn't walking last year, and this year he's a bit more active, so it's just great for him. I suppose just looking at the photos there, I suppose you won't realise till maybe 10, 12 years time, when he's a bit older, and he looks back on them, that's what it's all about really, and that's why I kind of do it now, it's everything is kind of for Fionn now, and and it was great to bring him up, to be able to bring him up to the mountain and just get over the line really, like, you know, it is, you know, you have these thoughts in your head, like, you know, geez, to be great to have Fionn there with the cup and stuff like that, like, you know, and it's just great. It's great that came through, like, you know, and just delighted really, yeah. Delighted to get over the line really, yeah. So it is great, yeah.
Yeah, you used the phrase getting over the line. Would I be correct? I was trying to read some of the reports. I know Paul Keane was covering it for some newspapers and stuff. And as far as I know, you got a bit of a lucky bounce on your last shots, did you? Off a bit of a rock or something like. And that's the breaks you get. Sometimes that could bounce against you, but you need that bit of luck in a competition like this.
Yeah, that's it. Down to the last shot really. Just the two boys that were with me, or a couple of boys that were with me, Conor Roach, PG Butler, Aaron Green. I just said to Conor, I said, I was about maybe 30 yards from the line, and I just said to Conor, I said, what's the story with, I knew Killian Kiley had gone in front of me, so I knew, and he was striking fairly well. So I just said to Conor, I said, what's the story here? Like, and he said, if you hit 50 meters, he said, you win this, he said. And I could see it, you know, it's 10, 20, 30 meters all the way up along. You can see the signs, like, and I knew I wasn't within range, like, so I gave it an awful belt, and it ended up hitting it was a flat enough rock, and it kind of skidded off it, and I'd say again probably 5 or 6 meters on it, like, it's massive, like, you know, and I think I hit about 60 meters of that, and I knew I was leading at that stage. Then I was just waiting for Fionn Maxey to come in then, but I kind of knew that I was in touch with him. I knew he wouldn't be a shot ahead of me, like, so I had a fair idea that I had the job done, like, you know, which is brilliant, like, you know.
Yeah. How does the scoring work? So you have to get over the finish line. Is it furthest over the finish line in this number of shots then, or something? Is that how?
Yeah. So
kind of measured, is it?
Yeah. So we say myself and Killian were both on, I think it was 25 shots, and then he hit was it 47 meters, and I ended up hitting 63 meters. So that's the winning distance, like, you know, which is, it's so tight, like, and you say I hit that rock, like, you know, and again another 5 or 6 meters, like, you know, which is,
yeah. Well, if it went the other way, maybe it ricocheted the wrong way, you'd lose the last 5, 10 meters. Yeah,
I thought when I hit it, I seen it hit the rock, and I said to Conor, I said, geez, I said, it's after bouncing back, is it? And he said, no, it's gone on. So yeah, just small margins. If that came back the other way, you know, Killian could have won it by a meter, you know. Going back 2 years ago, Fionn beat me by 3 meters, like, you know. So it's small margins, like, you know. But it's great to get that bit of luck, like, you know.
Colin, 2 wins and 3 runners up. Am I right in the last 5 years?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
2021 winners, 22, 3, 4 runners up.
Yeah, and 25 winner then again. Yeah, and. Going back,
Fionn pushed them over the line this time. I think.
He got me over the line. But go back to 2019, even that's when I first started. That was my first time above the Coolies. Like, you know, I ended up coming. I think I came fourth that year. That was my first year up there, which was a great experience. Like, you know, and you know, as I say, gained a lot of experience, and went on into 20. Then it wasn't on in 20 because of COVID. So we're back up again in 21. So. Just to get up that year in 19 was great, like, you know, and I actually had great support that day as well. I had a lot of Limerick lads there. Dermot Burns, Paul Brown, all them boys, they're all up there, like, you know, which is great. You know, it's nice to give them a day out as well. But yeah, it was just great, yeah.
I think you've explained it, because I was talking to a number of people about it, and they were sort of confused about the scoring, and they were saying, sure, didn't 2 or 3 of them end on 25 shots? How could he win it, you know?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so that's the mark. That's the meters in after. Like, so it's very well run, in fairness. There's a lot of stewards up there, and you know, everything is spot on up there. So, but that's the scoring. So if we're all on 25, it's the longest shot in. So it's the most meters, and that's how you win it.
Beyond the finish line.
Beyond the finish line. That's it. Yeah. So that's the way it goes.
Colin, what were your thoughts when you saw Brendan Cummins coming back into it, the 9 times winner this year?
Yeah, the first year I was up there, Brendan was there, and there's a lot of talk about him. Like, you know, obviously he's won it 8 or 9 times, like, you know, and you're trying to kind of feed off him a bit in a way, like, you know, and in 19 he was behind me, like, you know, so I was shooting in front of him, like, that's unbelievable, like, you know, for him to win it so many times, and then you're kind of mixing with him, like, yeah, and for him to come back this year, like, geez, he's as fit as a fiddle. Like, I seen him above. There's not a pick on him. At 50
He's still
years
playing
of
for his
age,
club, isn't he? He's playing
he's still in
intermediate.
goals. Like, yeah, I was chatting about that.
50 years of age, incredible.
It's unbelievable, like, you know, and he done well up there, like, you know, and it's not easy. Like, the ground is hard. You're going through furrows and bushes, and you're going through everything, like, you know, and the ground is just, it's very uneasy up there, like, you know, and he got through fine, like, you know, and I think he was 5th or 6th, like, so he done well up there, like, you know.
But it was a star-studded field. If you talk about yourself, Brendan Cummins, Fionn Mackesy, Killian Kiley, all previous winners.
Yeah, all previous winners. Yeah, there was a few more boys that had won it as well. But we'll say, like, the recent winners, Fionn and Killian, like, you know, they were the kind of ones I was keeping an eye on, like, in a way, like, you know, because, like, last 2 years, Fionn had beat me, like, you know, and geez, you're wondering, like, last year he beat me by 2 shots, and you're probably talking maybe 180 meters or 180 yards, like, which is a massive distance. Like, you're saying, geez, how am I going to come back next year and close the gap on that, like, you know? But yeah, some big hitters there. Killian Kiley, another one. Geez, he was in front of me, and he was gone on a good bit, and I to be honest, I didn't think I was going to catch him, because he was gone so far in the meters at the turn, we'll say, at the turn for home. I just didn't think I was going to catch him, like, you know, but I shot well on the way home, and just caught him on the line, really, like, you know. So yeah, it is great. Like,
you're winning an All-Ireland medal. He won a Joe McDonagh Cup with Offaly.
That's right. Yeah. A nice fella, Killian, as well. Sound fella. He's up there. He's up there since 18, I'd say, or he's up there even before that, because he won under 16, like, so he's great experience up there. Like, you know, my first year meeting him was 2019, like, so. But he's a good friend of mine now. In fairness, I've been up there nearly every year with him since, like, so he's a good lad.
Can I ask you, Colin, when did you realise at what age that you had a fair whack of a ball? I know everyone when they're young probably tries to hit it as far as they can, and or how did you discover that, or how did it come about that you were able to hit it maybe further than most?
I'm not really sure. I kind of remember under 10s. I used to be able to outstrike a good lot of, we'll say, my friends and stuff like that. Like, but I'd say it was, I ended up in goals in Harty Cup for Doon in 2013, and I think I just kind of realised there, like, that I had a good old puck, and I think the managers realised that as well, and that's why they threw me in there. But yeah, I suppose, look, I spend a lot of time in the field and stuff like that, like, you know, and I practice my striking, my first touch all the time, like, you know. So look, over years it's bound to improve, like, and thankfully it's still going well.
Any minor goalkeeper in 2013. That's the first time I discovered you're a fair whack of a ball.
That's right, yeah. 2013, yeah. Geez, we won the Munster that year, yeah, and probably unlucky in getting beat by Galway in the semi-final there. But
that's right.
That was my first time, yeah. So,
any tips for any younger hurlers about how to actually strike a fire? Is it just literally a case of practice?
Yeah, just practice. Like, you know, it's I spend a good bit of time at the ball wall. It's just practice. Like, you know, it's just keep striking, strike through every time. Like, you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, how do you strike so far?" Like I see some people, they kind of push through the ball. Like, you know, like, you need to put everything into it. Like, you know, to put your shoulders, wrist, the whole lot. Like, you know, to get that strike. Like, you know, and that's what I say to young people. Like, you know, there was a few people out there in the club there in Palace Green. They were saying it, like, you know, and you know, I just said the same thing. Like, you know, just keep practicing, get out to the hurling wall and strike. That's all you can do, really. Like, you know, and you're bound to improve. Like,
yeah, it
is fair resilience. Sorry, Tom.
Work away, Matt. Go on, work away.
Fair resilience on your part to play a match with Palace Green the day you went up to the day before the Cooley Mountains. I understand centre half back now. Is that your new?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm back centre back now at the moment. Yeah, we played Maru Boher on the Sunday. It was actually supposed to be on at 7:00, but both clubs agreed to bring it back to 3:00. So fair play to Maru on that as well. Like, they could have left it at 7:00, but it just gave me a bit more time just to get ready and get up, because it's a long drive up. Like, you know, you're talking maybe 3.5 hours. So it was great to get them a couple of hours extra. Like, you know, instead of playing a match at 7, you probably won't be leaving till maybe 9, and you won't be up there till maybe 12:30, 1:00. Like, you know, it's a bit late. Like, you know, so we got a bit of luck there on that side as well.
Yeah, things not going 100% for you just yet. Actually, in the intermediate grade, I know we have another man playing intermediate to come on with us in a minute, but two defeats from two. Actually, saw you against Knockane. You made an audition to get back into the forwards. Anyway, you ended up back in the goal when you were chasing things. But I suppose it's a big couple of weekends for everyone, all the club teams across the county, but particularly teams like yourselves who maybe didn't get what you want out of the first two rounds.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose our first round, you're playing Rubor. They're probably favourites of the competition, like, you know, to be one of the top ones there. To put it up to them, like, you know, we were within 3 points with a few minutes to go, like, and same again against Knockane. I think we just given Knockane too much of a head start. Played against the Breeze in the first half, and they actually kicked on in the second half. Then we just left too late, and we kind of rallied. Just what time wasn't on our side really, like, and we rallied too late. But yeah, we have St. Kieran's now Saturday evening. Badly need a win there, like, you know, to try and get out of the group first of all, like, you know, but to have any ambition trying to win the intermediate championship, we need to be getting points on the board now, like, you know. So,
yeah.
But we're a young team. We have a lot of young lads there, like Paddy Phelan, Ty Corrigan, Niall McNamara. Like, they're all 19, 20, like, so they're still kind of bedding in, like, you know. So look, it's probably going to take a bit of time, like, you know, but we have a good bunch of lads there, and we're training away hard all the same, like, you know. So we'll get a break at some stage, hopefully.
Absolutely, yeah. And the lads started well in the football. I'm conscious of time. Final one for me anyway is I was talking to a good friend of yours and good friend of ours here in Gerald O'Connell yesterday, and he was telling me you've huge plans for the club there in the next little while. I believe your father is chair at the moment, so you're talking about improving the facilities there. The pitch is I think the pitch is quite good up there, but you obviously want to bring it to another level, and I suppose it's all about building a community club for the ladies, for obviously the lads playing hurling and football, and for everyone really. So that's the part of the plans there to redevelop the facilities.
Yeah, there's massive plans going on in Palace at the moment. There's actually, we're doing a big fundraiser, the Quid Games. They're actually launching a Saturday night in Powers Bar. So yeah, there's a big push on that. We're trying to get a new sand-based field, kind of walkway all around up. We want to kind of link it with the soccer field, kind of like an outdoor gym, you know, just kind of bring all the community together, like, you know, which is great, like, you know, like as you said about ladies football there, like the amount of ladies that we have in the club at the moment, like we have camogie now, underage camogie. We never had it before, like, so, like, you pass the field every day, there's someone there at 6 o'clock and they're up there till 9 o'clock at night, like, you know, so the field is packed every night. So yeah, there's a big push on now at the club. It's a big project, so we're hoping to get a good share of help for trying to get it going again, like, and get a good push on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose between grants and obviously fundraising, it's a big project. So I suppose you're obviously looking for everyone locally and indeed maybe wider to get in touch. Matt, any final remarks for Colin?
No, only just to renew my congratulations. We're absolutely delighted for you, Colin. Absolutely delighted.
Thanks, William. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
No problem. All right, lad. Colin, we'll talk to you again soon, I'm sure. All right. Long the fall. All right, yeah, great to have Colin there. I know we've
absolutely delighted for him. Absolutely delighted. You know, if you come second 3 times, you really deserve it. You know.
Yeah. And he's
made of great stuff. I can't remember how many different positions I've seen him playing for Limerick and seeing him playing for Palace. You know.
I'd say nearly every one of them at this stage now.
Nearly every one of them at this stage. You know, and he's so adaptable and so versatile. You know, really fantastic guy. Yeah.
Okay, Matt, I know our next guest is waiting in the wing, and it's as I said at the start, a busy show this afternoon. So I'm delighted to welcome to Treaty Talk Marco Kelly, another man playing intermediate hurling with Croom. I know people might say, "Why? Who's Marco Kelly?" and what in God's name we have on here for him? But Mark, we might as well.
How are you, Mark?
Good, and yourselves?
We're great. We're great. Yeah, we might as well throw ourselves into the deep end, Mark. There was September a couple of years ago. It didn't look like we might be able to speak to Marco Kelly again because it looked like lights out, and you know, when you were lining out for your club. But thankfully, you've made a full recovery. You might tell us a little bit more. I know I'm only very sketchy on the details there, but it didn't look good for you when you were playing a match up for Croom up in Ballingarry. But thankfully, you're here to tell the tale.
Yeah, it was about a year and a half ago now, September, around the 24th. I think we were playing Fiona at Castlemahon behind in Ballingarry. And it's actually what it's called is commotio-cordis. So it's a sudden impact to the chest. A blow to the chest lands at the exact moment in the heart's electrical cycle, and it's just 20 to 40 milliseconds, disrupting the rhythm and causing a cardiac arrest. So it has to be perfectly timed. Whereas if you were putting it in, if it were a gambling man, you went into the bookies, it'd be, is it 4 million to 1 chances of it happening, which is crazy. And but like it can happen to absolutely anyone. I was perfectly healthy going into it before it, perfectly healthy after it, but it was just, it's hard contact sports is usually where it happens. Was it 23 people it happened to that year in the whole world, and 19 of them didn't make it. 19 of them passed.
So the odds of it happening were unlikely, but then when it does happen, the odds of you surviving are also unlikely. But thankfully on the day, I think your teammate Stephen Lucy, your opposition player Seamus Flanagan, and a number of others, now I wouldn't have all the names to hand, you might tell us more, but they were there to assist you. Thankfully the Grand Ballingarry club had their defibrillator charged and good to go. So I think again things conspired to be in your favor almost. I know it's a very traumatic event, but thankfully things worked out. It could have been an awful lot different.
Yeah, as you could say, I was unlucky but lucky at the same time. The way I had Stephen Lucy, who was a doctor, playing centre forward, Conor Ellis, who was a radiologist in the regional as well, playing centre back, Seamus Flanagan. There was it 4 nurses or 5 nurses at the game altogether, and teachers who knew how to do CPR, and our first aid who were also trained in CPR. So the defib, funnily enough, was only checked on the Wednesday. When the match was played on the Sunday, the defib was checked on the Wednesday and the battery was dead. And I'm not sure that they changed the pads, and they definitely changed the battery. And only for that, I would have been an honour that they checked it and the battery was gone. So they put in a new battery. But yeah, luckily, everyone that knew how to do CPR just shows how much everyone needs to know how to be able to do CPR, how to work an AED, and it was just lucky but unlucky at the same time as well, you could say.
Yeah, a message to all the clubs around the county to check and indeed charge their defibrillators, because you never know when, and indeed if they don't have one, actually to go and get one. I know that clubs do, in fairness to them, and I do see them on the walls of so many sports clubs in Limerick, so you'd never know when it's needed. So Mark, how was the recovery? Were you in hospital for long after? And
I was.
Go on.
I think it was roughly about 2 weeks I was in hospital for afterwards, between up and down to Dublin getting tests, echoes, angiograms, all these things, just in and out the whole time. Once I got out of hospital, then I was out of all sport for a month. I couldn't go back to work. I couldn't even swing a golf club. I couldn't go playing golf. And I, like any sport at all, I throw my hand at it. But couldn't do anything. Was just told, sit at home, relax, until all the results came back perfect. And every result, luckily enough, did come back perfect. There was, usually they say when they do CPR and everything is done properly, like you break your chest bone or you break your ribs or you puncture something. But it just shows as well, gymming, when you're playing GA and playing sports, it does all stand to you. Like, because the doctor said usually, like, when players or something happens like this, that if they don't have muscle or anything, if they're skin and bone, basically, that their muscle or their bones will be cracking at the CPR and all that. But luckily enough, he said when you have someone that the likes of Stephen Lucy bouncing up and down top of your chest trying to bring you back, he said usually you'd hurt yourself, but he said you got away lucky.
So it actually pays to be fit, basically, is what the message I get.
Exactly,
you know? And you've obviously looked after your body before, and I'm definitely sure since as well. You've been back on the field. Since I think you were telling me there yesterday, we were chatting briefly. you're back playing. Are you enjoying it? I'm sure probably maybe more than ever in a way.
Yeah.
Do you have a different outlook on life and in sport? Because I know we all take it very seriously. I know myself and Matt were chatting through games there and say, "Oh, this team needs to win," and no one needs to win really when you think of it. Like, but how's your outlook on sport and all the rest of it now?
I wouldn't say it has changed a lot, but like you always know at the end of the game, like at least once the game is over, the game is over. Whereas before, like you never think something that's going to happen to me would happen. Like no one ever going out to the hurling field expects it to happen. Like, or you're like, you'd hear it of someone else happening, or you might think of, oh, Jesus, it's mad what happened to your man. But like you never expect it to happen to yourself. So when it actually did, it takes a mental block as well on you. Like you have to prepare yourself afterwards, as well as like coming back. That first match after coming back, I remember it was my godfather was actually over us the next year after coming back, and I was playing half back the year it happened, and then the first game back he put me into goals because he didn't want the same thing to happen, even though it was just a freak accident. He was just like, I'm not taking a chance. But yeah, and luckily in my first game back we were playing Cricora, and my cousin was actually playing centre forward, so in the second half they put me out centre back to mark him so they know he wouldn't do anything to me.
So everyone else is changing their behaviour basically.
Yeah.
The psychology at work now.
Yeah.
But I suppose it highlights, while we all hope to stay fit and stay involved in sport, I think you said that was September 2023. If we go back, I think it was early August 2022, obviously Dylan Cork, I know it's a slightly different scenario, but nevertheless he went onto a field in Thurles and unfortunately didn't make it off it. It just shows you that these things can happen, and they can happen to quite literally anyone. Dylan Cork was obviously an up-and-coming inter-county player with Tipperary and obviously with his clubs. So I suppose we always have to be conscious of, looking after ourselves, but always conscious that, no one can be immune to these things either,
Yeah, that's the main, like with the fundraiser and everything, that's the main point I'm trying to get across, is that it can happen to anyone in any game. Once you're playing a contact sport or a hard-hitting sport, whether it's GA, rugby, baseball, like over in America, it can happen to anyone at any time. So it is vitally important that everyone knows how to do CPR and the use of an AED and to be able to react when it happens. Yeah,
just to bring up
Matt,
you mentioned. Sorry, Matt. We'll just mention this. I'll bring you back in there a sec, Matt. But this is your fun run event starting and finishing in Croom on the 4th of October. This is obviously a fundraiser for the Irish Heart Foundation. I'm sure you're obviously looking to have a fun day out for your friends, family, and everyone around as well. So tell us a little bit more about it and who's involved in the background with you as well.
Yeah, so I here at home I actually have 4 brothers and mom and dad, and then their wives, and I have the girlfriend as well. We're all involved trying to raise as much awareness as we can as possible for the Irish Heart Foundation. The run is starting at Croom GA and finishing at Croom GA the 4th of October. It's to raise and awareness for everything that has happened so far, and just in case it does happen again, the Irish Heart Foundation does great work with the likes of people that have had accidents with their heart for afterwards. Like, I didn't know this until I started looking it up from what happened to me, but once they are recovering, the Irish Heart Foundation sends money towards getting help for them to recover mentally as well as physically and everything else. But and they also do great work with nurses and how they help with everything inside in the hospital as well. So that's the reason we picked the Irish Heart Foundation.
Super. I'll make sure we get the links and the information out there. Also, if people further afield who may not maybe around that day or may not make it to Croom that day, there's also a case if they want to donate price of a cup of coffee or a pint or whatever it is. I'm sure you'll gladly accept that. So there's two different
there's online donations. I take it, Mark, is there?
Yes, there's online donations and there's online tickets for the event as well. You can either donate or you can buy a ticket for the race.
Yeah.
Super.
Mark, I just wanted to ask you there, you were obviously in hospital for a couple of weeks. What was the thought process? What exactly was going through your head? Was there a lot of why me?
Yeah, there was a lot. It was actually funny enough when I was in the hospital, and obviously I was ventilated, and when they tried to take the ventilator out the first time, they couldn't. They kept on biting down it. But then the second time, it was at 12 o'clock that night, I think they tried to take it out the first time. And then the second time when they actually got it out, when I woke up, the first thing I asked was, did we win the match? And by the nurses and the whole lot, they were like, are you serious? Your mother, your girlfriend, your brothers, everyone outside waiting for you. And the first question you asked was, did you win the match?
I don't think you did win it, did you? You didn't win it, did you?
Yeah, we did. We won it. We won. Yeah, we won.
I forgot. Very good. So, well, at least there was a bit of good news for you anyway. When you
so that was the first question I asked was, do we win the match? But yeah, the road to recovery, I had plenty of visitors in and out of the hospital every day. I can't thank my family, my friends, my girlfriend, everyone that came in to visit me. I can't thank them enough. They got me through it themselves. It is tough mentally. I won't say it isn't. It is tough, but when you have the likes of your family and your friends around you, your girlfriend looking after you 24/7, she's actually a nurse as well, so that helped also. But yeah, you would be thinking like, why me? But you kind of just have to. If you keep thinking that mentally, it'll just keep you in that mental frame. So you kind of just have to push on past it.
Yeah. Did you quickly move on? We'll say, did the thought process quickly move on to getting back to doing what you used to be doing and playing games again?
Yeah, it was as soon as I got out of hospital, as I was saying a while ago, it was a month before I could do anything. But the very minute the month was up, I was straight back into the gym. I'd say last year was the fittest I have ever been, playing hurling in the gym, playing football, running fit, physical looking. It was just it drove me on massively to get back to being strong and being fit again. Like, obviously in my own head, at the back of my mind, I was like, if something like this happens again, at least if I'm physically strong, physically fit, mentally prepared, I'll be fine. But obviously with such a rare occasion of it happening again, it just, it won't happen again. Please God.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, anything else?
No.
You were recalling to me yesterday, Matt. We were chatting about Mark, that his time in goals for the Limerick Miners, and
yes,
happy memories, Matt, or Mark, I should say, playing for Limerick.
Yeah, great memories. I was actually only on the phone to Anthony Daly 2-3 days ago. He was chatting, and he was on about getting the word spread out about the fun run and stuff like that. But he was reeling in the years. He was saying 10 years ago, he said, I couldn't get you to run, and now you're setting up runs. He said, there's so much has changed in that time.
Very good.
Yeah.
Remind me who exactly, who's your teammates? Who are the likes of your teammates from that 10 years ago? I'm trying to think.
There was Kyle Hayes, Conor Boylan, Jerome Boylan, Brian Ryan. There was a few more. There's a few from Munger. There's some. I don't even think some of them are even playing anymore. But we got to the All Ireland final. All right, we got to the Munster final and the All Ireland final, and Tipperary. The job wasn't the both of them, unfortunately.
That was Jake Morris was in that final, I think. Mark, was he?
I think so. Yeah. And I think was Brian McGrath as well. One of the McGraths was centre back as well.
He was.
Yeah, they had a good team.
Yeah, I'll tell you, he gave him plenty of it actually in the All Ireland.
Yeah, I think there was only 3 points in it for a finish.
That's all. He gave him plenty of it. Yeah, I remember it well. Yeah. Was it 2017?
2016.
2016. I knew it was around that time.
Yeah.
You're all 1998, is that right? Am I
all 1998? Yeah, spot on.
Very good. Yeah. Just to think, Josh Adams from my own club as well would have been on that panel as well.
Oh, yes.
Sure. You can't remember them all, Mark. Don't worry. Just to turn things back to, I suppose, a bit like when we were chatting to Colin there, Croom. You had a very disappointing opening round with your near neighbours Brewery, but I suppose you got up and running in the hurling championship then with a decent draw as well in round 2. So you'd be hoping to kick on now and get a first victory this weekend.
Yeah, in the first game against Brewery were outstanding. You couldn't fault them at all. They hurled very well. In fairness, they got 3 goals in this place. It was nip and tuck for the start, and it was 1 point, 2 point, 3 points, and then we were 5 points up to 3, I think it was, and all of a sudden they had 3 goals in the space of 5 minutes. They opened us up rightly. Then in the second game, we hurled a lot better. Our work rate was a lot better. We knew we owed ourselves something more than anything else. But yeah, the third game coming up now. We have Cappamore Friday night the venue has actually been changed recently. I'm not sure where it's on, I'm not sure.
It's down as Ballybricken.
It was originally. Yeah, it was originally down for somewhere else. I'm not sure, but it got changed recently.
Yeah, so I suppose you obviously Cappamore have started well, but a win there, you never know, that could kind of change your fortunes, and I suppose that's the aim really for any team who a bit like Pallasgreen, the other group, they haven't got the win yet, but a one win can spark something. That's the hope anyway heading into this weekend.
Mark, that's the hope.
Mark, is it a small bit of a worry that particularly at minor level now that Croom are unable to field a team of their own, that they've been involved in amalgamations for the last couple of years?
It is and it isn't, because when I was playing minors with Croom, we were only 13 aside. We didn't join with anyone, but we were always 13 aside. We weren't 15 aside. It was I think my age and the age above us were 13 aside, and down underneath us were always joined. They were either joined with Ballingarry or Ballybricken. Yeah, it was someone anyway. But I wouldn't worry that way. We always have 2 or 3 coming through the age groups, but like it is a worry now that we every age is joined. But at the same time, we still have 2 or 3 good young players. Like next year now we have Sean Cahill Hayes. He was on the minor league this year. He's a brilliant hurler. So we always have that 1 or 2 coming through. Like was it 2 years ago we had Jack Daly. He was on the 20s this year.
He was.
Yeah. So we always have 1 or 2 that are coming through that are strong. But it's just if we could get more back to the field, like. You could go back to the hurling field during the summer and there could be 20 young fellas back there pucking the ball. But yet when it comes to a match, they wouldn't show up for some reason. I don't know, is it soccer that's taken over or which? But it is getting better. It is getting better. But it's just trying to encourage them more and more to get back there.
Minor is always a difficult age group for clubs anyway to have that continuation, because it's that age group where lads are getting interested in a lot of other things as well aside from sport, so it's very hard sometimes to keep some lads interested. So that's the challenge a lot of clubs face, in fairness. But look, nevertheless, I think maybe the amalgamations can be a benefit to the lads who are very, very interested, because they can often be playing at maybe an A level or a higher level sometimes, and it can serve them quite well, for their own hurling, even if it is only 6 or 7 lads. Sometimes that'd be my view on it. Sometimes anyway. Matt, any final remarks for Mark before we let him?
No. I wish Mark the best of luck, and any help we can give by promoting the fun run, we'll certainly do it for you, Mark. It's very, very good, and it's a lovely story to hear that you came out of the right side of it.
Perfect. Thanks a million, lads.
Yeah, no problem, Mark. Best of luck with the run. I know it's a few weeks away yet, so hopefully people will dig into their pockets if they can't go, and indeed if they are around, they should definitely tug out, even if they're not able to keep pace with yourself now that you're flying fit again. So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, look,
cheers.
Wishes the weekend and for the rest of the championships as well. All right.
Thanks a million. Cheers. Brilliant.
All right. Yeah, thanks a million to Mark.
Lovely story, Tom, with a happy ending there, and I hadn't realised actually, and I read a bit about it. I hadn't realised the level of odds that was against him. When he puts it down in numbers there, it's pretty frightening. And what was it? 18 of the 22 that had that in that year. You've got to admire him for being so quick out of the traps to give something back.
Yeah, that's it. It's very good.
Real test of a guy, top class guy, and anybody that goes down that road, because he must have done so much soul searching, and as I said to him, why me? There was so much of that.
Yeah, well, I know Cappamore won't be sparing him anyway at the weekend, Friday night. But anyway, that's
Cappamore are looking for a third win out of 3, and they were relegated 3 years ago, so they're mad anxious to get up to division, back to the Premier.
Yeah, that's for sure. Matt, I know the only kind of other main item we would have had on our agenda this week was Camogie.
I'll just run quickly through, Tom, because we have the constraints of time. There were wins in the first round this week. Newcastle West travelled to the Piercing and were pushed all the way, but still got the win, and they played Bruff in the next round. And they were down a couple of key players. Debbie Murphy was absent, Roisin Ambrose, Iris Kennelly. So they will be happy to get off to a winning start. We had Mike Wade in with us last year, you will recall. Then Ahan, who were runners up last year, they travelled to Adair, and they were pushed to the pin of their collar. I think they won it by 11 to 12 points. All 12 points for Adair coming from the stick of who. It can be only Cueva Costello.
Yeah, the one and only. Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. Kilidi. There was a bit of a surprise there. In that Kilidi, who won the league recently, lost in the first round at home to Mona Lee, and like we were wondering, I think last week, or I was certainly maybe wondering in the paper, will the momentum that's with Mona Lee for the last couple of years continue? And the answer is a very, very definite yes. And,
well, look, they seem to overall have a very young team, don't they? A young panel, and they have some of the top talents around.
Very exciting players, and apparently they were very, very much to the fore. And we flagged it here last week about Laura Southern and Ella Hessian and Ella Madden and all these. They're extremely good. Aoife Nelligan, Emily O'Halloran, they're very, very, very good players. So not a terrible surprise. And a small bit of a surprise in the final game. Bruff beat Crow Kilfinney comfortably. I would have thought that Crow Kilfinney, coming up from junior, from intermediate, they came up
had that momentum, wouldn't they?
Would have the bit of momentum, but they got off to a losing start anyway. So they now entertain the Piershick in the next round, whilst Bruff will be travelling to Newcastle West.
Okay, well, very good. Yeah, thanks, Matt, for that, for bringing us up to speed. I think we've covered plenty in the 96 minutes. So 2 unique guests as well, I think it's fair to say, in the form of Puck Fada champion Colin Ryan and I suppose survivor almost, Mark O'Kelly. And
the great survivor, actually.
The great survivor, yeah. And great to see him lining out again for Croom. But it would be great if folks could dig deep into their pockets, even if it's only $5 or $10. It would all go to help the great people at the Irish Heart Foundation.
It's going to the Irish Heart Foundation, and we can see that the good work that the Irish Heart Foundation we are doing, and it also crystallizes for me and crystallizes for anybody that was listening the importance of not just having a defibrillator, but having it in good working order and up to speed.
And having people trained in CPR, because he was probably blessed in the opposition and the teammates that he has, but they knew their stuff and they were able to deliver when the need was greatest. Matt, thanks very much for your time this week, and I'm sure we'll be chatting to you at a game or two over the weekend. A reminder, 4 games being streamed by streamsport.ie. The link's up on the social media channels at the moment. Do get involved in those if you're unable to attend those games. A game on Thursday night hurling, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday afternoon. So plenty to choose from there. We'll talk to you soon, folks.